Hello.
Hello, friends,
Welcome.
family, newcomers.
Good evening.
This is Beyond the Basement, the complete Attack on Titan.
podcast.
Oh. Okay, listen, normally there's three of us, and so it's a lot smoother than that. Anyway, welcome to the show. It's a very special edition of the show. So we have been asked by one of our YouTube commenters to go through the intro to Season 4, because apparently there's some stuff in there.
There's some gold in there.
There's some gold, yeah. There's some little tidbits in there. Now, we are anime onlys, if you couldn't have guessed by the title of this video. So we actually don't know what's going to happen in the rest of Season 4 or how any of this ends. So, supposedly, there's some kind of spoiler-esque things in here, but when we watched this the very first time, all of us kind of agreed, like, oh, well, at least there's not a bunch of spoilers in this intro.
Because of Season 2 and some of Season 3, they show you these intros to anime, and you're like, okay, I can pretty much piece together the entire, story arc based on, what I'm seeing.
Yeah, especially if you've watched it. If you haven't watched it, you can kind of like guess a little bit. Now, I will give credit to Season 2. There's still stuff in the Season 2 intro. We don't know what the frick was going on there.
I think they were taking drugs when they made that intro.
We might have to go back over that one as well. But at any rate, what we've done is I've actually just screen captured just each of the individual frames from the intro. And so we're going to go through all of those. And our only request is no manga spoilers in the comments. Okay, there might be other people. We have a lot of other people who are also anime only, so they are trying to figure stuff out as well. So we are currently, as of today, 4 episodes into Season 4. So so kind of cheating a little bit. We have seen those 4 episodes, but nothing beyond that. No manga spoilers.
And what you're about to watch, we should probably put a warning on this. What you're about to watch is the effect good art has on 2 completely different brains who don't know what's about to come. When you've seen the manga, it's like, oh yeah, of course. No, everyone could see that coming, but we don't know what's going to happen. So everything we're going to throw out there right now is just spaghetti on the wall. We're just spitballing. We're just trying to see any theories.
We've had some success with Isayama's series so far because we've done, again, if you're not familiar, we do a podcast. We've done every episode up to this point. And so we've had some misses, but we've had some hits as well. So I'm hoping for some hits looking through this.
All right.
So let's jump into this sucker. Okay, so the first thing we see is something I think we've already seen. Now, is it the second one where they kind of go through and do the the profile of each of the Titan shifters and kind of why each, it's Reiner's flashback episode. I think it's episode 2 in Season 4. And he has these flashbacks, and it's like during that episode they have this sort of montage thing where they discuss why they chose Annie, for the female Titan, why they chose Zeke for the Beast Titan, and they just kind of give a short explanation. And at the end of that sequence, we see Bertolt, and he's doing his thing where he cuts his finger and he touches it, and he's a freaking nuclear bomb. Now, if you watch the end of Season 3, you remember the nuclear bomb thing. You're like, oh yeah, that's the same mushroom cloud.
That one killed almost all the scouts, actually.
Shiganshina. So this is what that looks like because
we see, obviously, it's a more modern building.
Yeah.
It's, some sort of military base, the scout tower.
It's not inside the walls. I think we can say that.
It's not inside the walls. It's not in the Island of Paradise, we don't think. We think it's clearly some area outside in modernity, and it is on fire or being blown up at the time.
Now, this looks like... Now, there's a lot of explosions in this that we're going to see, obviously. But this, to me, looks a lot like a test, out in the desert or out in the middle of Siberia where they actually tested nuclear bombs back in the day. So that's definitely the vibe. But I'm just trying to figure out, like I said, if we've already seen this in the show or not. And I'm just not sure.
The other thing that's really important right here, if you look, that little building has no gutters. So
so when it rains, that foundation is just...
That thing is just eating water.
Straight eating
Okay, that's not important. All right.
Okay. All right. So moving on, our next one... this shot, so that first shot we just saw, and then this shot occurs a bunch of different times. So I'm not sure if it's because it's important or because they're just trying to fill time here. But this sort of looks familiar in so much as we've already seen some Navy activity.
We saw the Mid-East Alliance.
Mid-East, something like that.
Mid-East Alliance something. They have a great Navy. And
had a great Navy.
They had a great Navy until some Beast Titan took some shots at it. So this could be some ships from the Navy there. This could be some Marleyan ships, but the Marleyan ships are a little bit behind the rest of the world because they've relied on their Titans too much.
Yeah. No, so I guess technically, because now if you haven't watched, we actually did a breakdown of the trailer, season 4 trailer as well, which I need to go back and rewatch our episode and see what we got right from just the trailer.
Yeah, we can call some balls and strikes there.
We definitely got a few strikes. People were like, no, that's definitely not right. So we heard you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we saw that scene in episode 1 was Zeke throwing throwing all the bombshells back at him. This doesn't look like that to me.
No.
This looks like this because it's not the same layout. It's not the same kind of like destruction. This looks like these ships are kind of like going around and sort of dodging, and like they're not in that same kind of formation. So you're right, could be like Marleyan ships, but what?
Another option. We know that because of season 4, Marley has sent several scouting ships to Eldea, to Paradis, to be able to find what's going on. They've lost 37 ships.
32, something like that, yeah.
30-something ships. So we think, hypothetically, if there's some smart people on the Island of Paradise, like Hanjay or Armin, they could have been like, hey, don't just destroy those ships. Let's capture them. Let's make our own navy.
That was my theory when we watched that episode, when we did the podcast on it, was that like those ships disappeared. Doesn't mean they were destroyed.
Yeah.
They could have just been hijacked.
Could this be a naval battle between Marleyans and the people of Paradis with some Titans in the mix? There's obviously an explosion, so someone's shooting at them or someone's coming up out of the water.
No, I guess next frame is the soldiers. But anyway, we'll see this shot again here, but there's definitely more of this shot, and it's the explosions, the multicolored explosions. Now, that's something that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the intro. I actually don't know if the multicolored thing, like the different smoke and explosions, all have these like sort of rainbow colors. I don't know if that's creative license.
Is it just artsy, or is it these have connotations, these mean something?
Yeah, it's not clear. Okay, so our next frame is, again, pretty reminiscent of stuff we've already seen, which is that kind of World War I, World War II vibe of like sort of like the era that humanity's in outside the walls. And so up to this point, season 4, we actually haven't seen anything inside Paradise. We've only been outside the walls, which is like a shocker. Like, oh my gosh.
We spent 3 seasons there, and all of a sudden now we're going other places.
At the end of season 3, when you're like, you see an airship at that end of that episode. We just finished that season 3 podcast. I was like, I still, like when you watch that the first time, you're like, what? Like,
an airship?
These people are like, not only are the people outside the walls, they're like far more technologically advanced. Anyway.
Kind of reminded me of M. Night Shyamalan's The Village.
What's that? No, I don't think I saw it.
It's like a bunch of people, and they're like living in ancient times, and then one person has to go outside the boundary, and you realize they're not living in ancient times.
No,
they're just been tucked inside. Sorry, the spoilers. It's about 20 years later, but they just chose to like section off from society. But they told everybody that there wasn't anything else.
Just forgot, dude. It's literally the same plot. That's exactly pretty much what happens.
It's pretty interesting.
All right, so I don't know how much there is to comment on this.
This is clearly a mortar team, and they're clearly at war, shooting some things. And
again, rainbow colored.
Seems like an impressionist painting that a hippie would paint.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of artistic license.
I'd put that on my wall, though. I think.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
totally.
Okay.
All right. So this. I know these are weird screen caps because I was screenshotting. We weren't watching. I mean, we could watch through it. This was just easier. Last time we did this, it was like no pause, no go back, no pause. So I wanted to get past that.
We wanted to give you guys all the details.
Yes. And this to me is pretty obviously somebody doing the Titan shifting thing. So I think this whole sequence is unfolding is essentially
somebody turning into a Titan.
And by somebody, we're assuming it's Armin. So a lot of this looks like this is, what we're about to see, the nuclear explosion, all that stuff has got to be
Colossal Titan.
The Colossal Titan. Again, we've already seen that episode 2 and that whole like flashback thing. We saw it in Shiganshina when Bertold had it. Now Armin has that power. So I'm not sure if it's safe to assume, but this to me looks like somebody shifting.
Spinal column with some electricity, some meat growing. Looks like a cut of meat right there. I could fry that up in my grill.
Fried Titan, dude. Who knew?
Don't say that.
Just a little salt on you. Okay. Here's the nuclear explosion.
Here's the explosion, which when we initially saw this, we were like, oh man, they have developed bombs. But now we're like, wait, that is probably the Colossal Titan.
Here's the thing is.
Could be.
They still could have.
Yeah,
I don't think that's out of the. I don't think that's out of the question because again, the era that Isayama chose to like write the rest of society is right around World War II, which 1945. That's when the first nuclear bombs were dropped actively. So they were being developed throughout World War II, and then they were actually implemented. And so this could very well be like we know that the world has already developed anti-Titan weapons that they're effective.
So how big did they go?
Right.
Is a nuke the greatest anti-Titan weapon?
Because they can pierce the nape with like a shell, but like, do you have something bigger than that for the Colossal Titan? Because I don't know if that's going to work on him. So All right.
And not just that, but if you kill a Titan shifter, supposedly their power goes just to somebody else.
Right.
So how do you stop the Titan shifters? You got to kill them all.
And that there's so much about the Titans that we're still unsure. What does the rest of the world know about Titans and Titan powers versus what Marley knows versus what Paradise knows? Paradise has kind of been in the dark, right, about the Titan shifting thing because they had their memories wiped, but they are gaining knowledge pretty quickly. You know what? Speaking of, it's not even clear if Paradise knows that. No, I think Grisha's letters do say the 9 powers.
Yeah.
And okay, never mind. So they do know some of that.
But what we don't know is not only what the rest of the world knows about the Titan powers, but what the rest of the world is. Because we assume it's just like us. But we obviously know there's a clan called the Ackermans that possess some special power that makes them super strong and very athletic. Is there other clans out there? Are there other people way out in what we would call North America who have weird, crazy powers? Is there laser eyes? Is there jetpacks? We want to know.
Who knows? I mean, what I want to know is there any other kind of like mystical powers? And
right.
Why is
this
it that
sci-fi?
Only these two societies have any control over the Eldians that can do the Titan shifting? There's a lot of unanswered questions with that. Okay, next frame, we're back to the mortar team. I kind of was just screenshotting everything, so again, there's a lot of repeats in here. I don't know the color scheme. Okay, red, yellowish, greenish, blue, like a cayenne, like blue, and that's. Again, I'm not sure if that's an artistic choice. It does look cool.
Did you say cayenne?
Cayenne?
That's a pepper, not a color. Cyan. Fact check me.
It's pepper, not a color. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Then back to, again, the Titan shifting thing, I think.
Why do they show us this?
I know. It's pretty grotesque. You have to think somebody sits down and actually draws all of this out.
But first, someone's like, hey, draw me some blobs, some flesh blobs, some like human Titan-y flesh blobs. Yeah. And someone's like, okay.
Fine.
And then someone throws money at them and
so.
then it's okay.
Like, do you think this is the same guy that, your biology textbooks in high school, and they have all the drawings of like the muscle system and stuff like that? You think that guy, there's a meme. You guys should go to our Facebook page if you haven't seen this already. Somebody took a picture. I'm assuming this is a high school kid because it's literally a biology textbook. And it's like, what I just said, it's like the muscle system. And of course, it looks a lot like the Colossal Titan. And somebody drew like a halfway decent drawing of like Aaron or somebody with the swords and the ODM going, like going down for the neck.
So good.
Okay. More explosions.
Probably the fallout of that blast that we saw.
Yeah. Again, it cuts back and forth quite a bit between a lot of obscure explosions. So we're back to our first frame, just larger, like it's gone off. Now maybe the shockwave is kind of on its way to this location, this sort of non-central location. We're back at the ships again.
Okay. There's some sort of naval battle going on.
And this one's like a bunch of explosions all at once.
Yeah.
These don't look like warships. Now that I'm looking at this, don't you think none of them have...
We don't really know what their ships look like all that well. I haven't done a lot of study on the Marleyan ships or the other nation ships, so they could be, but they also could be freighters.
The ships we saw, though, in episode 1 were shooting, like they had guns on them. They were shooting back
artillery style.
At Zeke, that's the Beast Titan. And here, these ones...
You think they're transport ships?
That's what I'm saying. That's actually kind of my theory.
Okay, so who would they be transporting? Eldians, or would they be transporting?
That's what I'm saying. I think these are people
from other nations.
I think these are people ships.
Are these all the Asians coming in, about to drop some elbows?
I hope so. I don't know. But look, multicolored explosions. It's like the 4th of July.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to say is if there was more colors in war, it wouldn't be quite as bad. You know, like it'd still be the killing, the death, the sadness.
Right, but it'd be more
a little
artsy.
pretty. Yeah, a little prettier.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like Equilibrium or something.
Which is funny because kind of the whole theme of the show is war as hell, and it's terrible to do bad
and they're
things
making war look pretty here.
And they're like, let's add some splash art. It'll make the intro really cool.
So we're back to this frame again. I think this is what we just said. It's like the explosion sort of continuing towards this little mission-based thing. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's a flamethrower.
This is where it gets interesting. Now, flamethrower dude, again, very world. If you ever played Battlefield 1, this exact shot actually just like instantly brought to my mind. Like when you play Battlefield 1, like all Battlefield games, when you jump in, like the first thing, like before it even like rolls credits or gives you like a how to do thing or adjust settings, like the very first thing when you boot the game is it takes you through a little bit of gameplay. And in Battlefield 1, one of them is a scene where you have to play a soldier with the flamethrower gun, which is actually pretty sweet. It's actually a really cool scene.
It's fun, but I gotta say, like the idea of just melting human flesh.
Yeah, it sounds really horrible.
That's terrible, but also very cool to play with. And I saw Elon Musk made one. I want to get it for our show.
Yeah,
it's important.
To light our cigars with, or
Sure. Sure. Listen, I need it. Okay.
Okay, so this frame again does a lot of like repeating. So it goes to the flamethrower dude. This is just like his flame smoke, pink smoke stuff or whatever. And it actually cuts back and forth. I skipped all those because like this is just the same thing over and over. I tried to look for any details, but this doesn't seem to have much to it. Again, just explosions and smoke, which is why we were like, okay, there can't be that much for spoiler content. Really, truly. This one I took a picture of, again, it is one of the explosions is definitely doing that animation.
Yeah. The question for me is, one of the issues when you drop a nuclear bomb in real life, God forbid, is the explosion's huge. Mm-hmm. It takes out lots of people, vaporizes them, but then also the nuclear fallout, the radiation destroys so many. That's not the case with a Titan explosion.
You don't think, unless Shina's radioactive now.
I mean, I don't know. I guess we don't know the extent, but hypothetically, you could set a colossal Titan explosion off much closer to your own people than you could in a normal
you could
situation.
walk somebody in and they wouldn't know that you were also a nuclear bomb.
That's true.
They'd have no clue.
Yeah, handheld nuclear bomb.
Okay. I'm just going to skip ahead. This one is
birds.
This is the falling birds.
This is the falling birds. Okay, so what happens when you have a massive shockwave?
Yeah.
The animal, the nature, the birds and the fish in the area, they all die. That's one way you can tell there's nuclear fallout or the explosion was so large.
Now, this can't possibly be... It's so vague. But this all centering around this kind of nuclear explosion theme and warfare like theme here, like modern warfare type of theme.
Yeah.
But what is it saying about the show? Like, I get the images that are in front of me.
Sure.
What is it actually like?
What is he trying to communicate?
If anything, which I'm assuming there's something here. Now, granted, this is a new studio, right? This is Mappa. This is a different studio that's taken it. I can only assume that that's probably the main reason that this intro feels and looks so different than the other ones. The music is on point. I think it's just as good.
But remember in season 3, the last episode had some of the color stuff as well in the background?
Yeah.
Are they trying to communicate anything with the colors? Like, are they trying to show that everything's connected?
We, as non-manga readers, I can't remember. The manga I've seen, a lot of it's not been colored, but some of it has been. Huh. So I wonder if, color even plays a factor.
Interesting.
In the manga itself.
Here's something I'll say, too. Isayama has used birds throughout the whole show as some sort of transcendent symbol. And, we've talked about Eren in the very beginning of the show is looking up at the sky and he's daydreaming, and they kind of show that shot a couple spots throughout the show about how these birds, they're free. They're not stuck in these walls. They can fly wherever they want. He feels envious of the birds. And then the very beginning of season 4, we see the birds and Falco looking up and saying, "Fly away, birds, like it's not safe here." And so Isayama's, I feel like, trying to connect some picture right there of these birds are free and they're not bound to one nation or the other. They're not enslaved. They can kind of travel where they will. And here,
but they get killed anyway.
All the birds are dying. Everybody suffers because of war.
Interesting. Oh, that's definitely true. So far, that's been a theme of the show anyway. Okay, more of the birds falling. I don't know. No, it's just I really can't pick anything else out there. I screen captured this because this was the colorful gas moving throughout. I only took one screen cap of it, but basically, this they spent of the intro, which is not very long. They spent a decent amount of time just on this
on the clouds,
cloud gas kind of moving around. Okay. So go ahead.
Is this just, obviously it's not colorized, so we don't know what it is. It could be anything, but is it smoke from the explosion? Is it flames or, fire from the explosion? Or is this a chemical agent?
Yeah.
Have they developed chemical warfare?
Yeah, we've been wondering kind of this as well. So in episode 1, we saw Zeke do his shout thing, his little dragonborn shout thing, where we've now know for sure he has the ability to turn Eldians into pure Titans. Yeah. But the ones that were in the airship were all strapped in, and they looked like they were either handicapped or they looked like some kind of weird thing in their face. They looked odd. They looked sedated, drugged, like there was something wrong with them.
We thought that maybe there must be a condition with Zeke's power we don't know about, or he can only use a Titan shout against Eldians who are sedated
or incapacitated in some way.
Incapacitated or have been exposed to something, because we've only seen him use it twice. One is in season 4. We haven't seen him use it in season 2, where Connie's parents get changed in the village. But we know he does it to everybody all at the same time in that village. And we haven't seen him do it when he was fighting Levi and when he was
Right.
fighting anybody else. And I would think if you have a crazy Ackerman flying at you, you would try to
Right.
turn everybody into Titans.
Because how does he know that the Levi's does he even know Ackermans exist? Let alone that in the heat of the moment, somebody's flying at you with ODM gear at the episode episode 54 or whatever it was.
Right.
Like, could he have possibly known that? Yeah, like even if he did, you think he would at least try?
Yeah.
He'd be like, shall, or maybe he can't do it while he's in Titan form. So you know, like,
so maybe there's some conditions. But we thought hypothetically he would have done it if he could have done it, and
Right.
he didn't do it, which means that there's a limit there. Some sort of condition has to be met.
yeah,
And we surmise that one of the conditions is like the Eldians have to be either exposed to something or have to be sedated.
yeah,
And so could this gas be that sedating ability? So he's going to gas a bunch of people and he's going to come in and turn into Titans?
Yeah.
Or is
Or-
this just back at the fallout, the smoke from the explosion?
Or is it, I mean, just to get wilder with the theory here, like, could it also
get
be,
wild.
because we've been talking about like a lot about how to this point, we know for sure that in order to turn an Eldian into a pure Titan, you need like this final fluid. You need that syringe, that injection. But could it not be done another way? Now, Rod Rice licks up some of the spinal fluid, and that's what turns him into the Titan. It's not super clear that because he ingested it instead of injecting it, is that why he became so weird? To me, I don't think that's the case, just because he says, I must not. He actually, when he goes to like, you know, when he talks about taking the power for himself, he realizes he shouldn't. I think he knows something is wrong with them, that he turns into a bizarre Titan.
Yeah.
In any case, that's not the point. The point is the gas we're seeing here. Is this not, could it not be possible that like, okay, they've now vaporized this gas and they can just turn like whole heaps of LDNs into pure Titans, which I'm not sure why you would do that, because they're much more vicious and deadly when they're freaking
I
pure
mean,
Titans.
that's one way to turn an army against you, though. If there's an Eldian uprising, you just hit him with this vapor gas. You just gas your own people in the camps.
True, and they can't think for themselves anymore, and you know how to kill them.
Yeah.
You have, especially if the anti-Titan weapons. All right, so then we get to this shot here, and
Yep.
this has to be Marley. I mean, what else would this possibly be?
It was at least a modernized soldier, just like the person with the flamethrower.
Yeah,
There's clearly
for sure.
military. The whole theme of the show is going
we've
to war.
seen Eldian soldiers, and then one of the things that they mentioned in this most recent episode, in episode 4, is that doesn't seem like there's any actual Marleyan soldiers. There's generals and stuff, but all the
Oh.
foot soldiers, all of the actual combatants
Seem to be more
are
Eldian.
Eldians. That's why what's his name, General McGath, is like,
We need to have Marleyan conscriptions come back.
right,
Yeah.
he wants Marleyans to have some skin in the game, so they don't they don't continue to just be like warmongers the way that they are.
Yeah.
Now, could you turn a bunch of softies? That'd literally be like doing a draft in America right now. You'd be taking a bunch of freaking couch potatoes and Netflix enthusiasts with purple hair and being like, okay, we need to go fight a war. I don't know if Marley's quite there, but like this, could you turn Marley into an army? Like, this just looks very like whoever this is, whatever army this is like, you know, this is very
They're walking in
German World
lockstep.
War II. Yeah.
They're looking very menacing. So to
North
me,
Korea vibe almost.
yeah,
here.
this doesn't look like the good guys.
No, this is just another shot. Same thing. Them rolling by. They march pretty well in step. Okay,
Here's an airship.
back to the birds. Keep showing up, and the airship. We've seen airships, and we know one thing for sure: an airship is something that kids love, which is why Grisha's little sister got eaten by dogs. It's really sad, but it's also what they used to transport the
Pure Titans. or
pure
the
Titans. Yeah,
Titan fodder, what do they call them?
I don't know. Titan fodder sounds right.
Yeah, Titan bombs, basically. They're going to turn a bunch of Eldians into pure Titans and drop him on the enemy. I think that's what we're about to witness here in the next slide, right?
I think. Okay, more back to the falling birds. Again, so much back and forth. It's an intro. Okay, this is it. Okay.
Oh,
So this was painstaking because this was such a quick shot. And so I'm not sure I was even supposed to see this in as much detail as we're seeing it, but this is the best shot I could get. This, yeah, I'll go to the next frame so you can see what happens to it. So it falls and it shatters like stone.
oh.
And so what I first thought was the first like statue that we've seen so far
It's Helos.
was Helos or Hellas, whatever, and he's like this, you know, ancient. We're not that ancient, but like historic hero. He's a Marleyan who helped take down
the first Titan.
like the first Titan or whatever. And so I'm like, is this supposed to be that statue? But that statue's in a really particular. He's in a really heroic pose. He's got the spear.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is that statue.
Yeah.
It's also the environment we're in here is very similar to the nuclear testing zone. It's like
it's modern. It's not in Paris.
you've got a wall here opening. Yeah, again, not inside the walls, I don't think. And whatever this is, which it does look like a Titan, it's not made of flesh, but rather of stone.
Yeah, because if you just look from the neck down or up, I guess in this position, it looks like a pure Titan.
Yes,
but because it's made out of stone, we've never seen a pure Titan turn into stone unless there's some sort of hardening ability that could be used on them. There's
definitely some hair, maybe even like...
Oh, okay. Remember when they were in the cavern and Rod Rice has the bag, and in the bag is the capsule that says the hardening ability?
Yeah.
And Aaron drinks it, then he can harden.
Right.
What if they fed that to a pure Titan and just dropped him like a freaking bomb?
Yeah,
like literally a
rocks,
projectile. So maybe this...
I mean, it's pretty much what happens in this next couple of shots.
So maybe they give some of these people, some of these pure Titans, they give them the hardening thing and they just drop them because they're heavier.
Is the hardening thing... Gosh, I still have so many questions about that.
Is it transferable?
Yes.
Is it easy? Can you give it to pure Titans? Can you give it to anyone?
Aaron obtained a new ability by drinking a liquid. So like how much science goes into these
yeah.
Even like the armored Titan, right? They say in that episode where they go through all the different Titan powers, like, oh yeah, the armored Titan, give it to Braun, or like, it specializes in hardening. I'm like, did he have to learn to transform with the armor on then? Or like, is that just innate? Like it's just...
Yeah. Like what would happen if somebody else got the armored Titan? Would they just spawn with the armor? Is that just part of his built-in kit, and then he can go above and beyond with like additional hardening like he did in season 4?
Because it seems like Annie's Titan has the most similar Titan hardening to Aaron's so far. So she can harden like parts of her body.
Aaron, same thing, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder though, I mean, if I was a Marleyan advertising company, I would be all over that. I'd be like, you can drink this one thing and make yourself a superhero, just like our new product, Zappy Juice. Drink Zappy Juice and you'll feel like a brand new superhero.
Oh, like a rock.
All right.
So. The animation though, so good. Look how detailed this is. When I was doing this, the more I look at these, I'm like, each one of these is a piece of art and they're one frame.
And they flashed it for half a second.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So this is
something crumbling.
Something else crumbling. Again, it wasn't super clear. I don't know if this is like a zoom in on the statue or if this is a zoom out to something else. Here we go. This is the shot. So this is why I'm not sure that last scene is literal, is because this seems metaphorical, because these are all soldiers. Maybe it's not. Maybe somebody has Medusa powers and can turn people into stone, Titans or otherwise.
So you think that last scene is more like our traditions and what our society was built on is going to crumble because of the war that's about to happen?
Yeah, maybe. Okay. War. I mean, so far, like the birds dying, you're like, oh, war affects everyone. Like maybe this is the same thing. Like war, like shatters every.
Well, yeah, statues are like our tradition, our culture, what our society is built upon, the fabric, right?
Yeah.
We only build statues of things that we're trying to honor and like bring forward with us. And so maybe they're saying like everything's going to get flipped upside down and broken down. All
I know is there's definitely a lot more of this show to go.
Yeah.
There's a lot more story to go. The thing is, somebody actually mentioned that to me. Somebody who has read the manga asked me, "Oh, I haven't watched the anime. Where is it at?" And I was like, kind of explaining to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there's so much more to go." Like and the thing is, I didn't need him to tell me that. We've all been saying that this whole time. Like the fact that like kind of each season opens up like a whole new like chasm, but especially at the end of season 3 and now at the beginning of season 4, like it's very obvious that there's the kind of like extent to which things are going to unfold is way more massive than even what we know 4 episodes in now.
Yeah,
I think.
But I'm happy because
it's
like someone's like, "Hey, did you like that piece of pie?" Like, yeah, there's a whole another pie in the refrigerator.
We got a fridge full of pies.
We got a fridge full of pie. I'm like, let's go.
Give me all the pie.
Give me that pie, Isayama.
Okay, so what I want to know about this one, I should have left that other screen. Anyway, the guy's already exploding. We can see most of what I'm talking about. So here, I should have left that other screen cap. Okay, this will do.
Are these guys busting through that brick wall or stone that was crumbling?
These guys are definitely, we're assuming, from Paradise.
They look like they've got anti-Titan thunder spears on their arm.
Yep.
But they look like a mix between scouts who are anti-Titan scouts and the special squad. There was Kenny's squad that was the anti-personnel, right? They've got guns.
Yes, they have actual guns though. So notice they don't have any swords at all. They actually have nothing to cut knaves with.
Yeah, they're just bringing us a gun to a sword fight. They're not messing around anymore.
Yeah. Now, so this is what I would anticipate if you were going to send actual foot soldier, like Paradise foot soldiers in, that this is what you would do is you would arm them. Like if there's going to be an invasion, like a full on war, this is how you would arm them, is the fact that your society, probably the only society that bothers to develop ODM gear.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is actually a pretty big advantage. Like think of it, like in any battle, that's you can just like move, your maneuverability is increased like tenfold.
Yeah. And we know this because when Zeke came over to check out Paradise for hypothetically the first time in 100 years, he was perplexed by the ODM gear. He said, "Oh, you've developed this like movement. It's very clever." Yeah. And he wanted to take it back to Marley to like get it analyzed, because guess what? Y'all were lazy and just sent in your Titans and didn't spend any time, innovating, right? And necessity is the mother of all invention. And so because these Eldians have had to invent this cool Batman pants, these Spider-Man pants, zipping around and doing cool stuff, they get to bring that into modern warfare with some like Luger looking like firearms.
Yeah, it's not super good. Like, it could also be a staple gun, but
it could be a staple gun.
Could
that mag looks very large, like very large shells, hypothetically. I don't know. Those are probably more anti-personnel than anti-Titan.
Sure.
Those guns.
So this is what we were discussing before we filmed this. Is that these soldiers definitely look like they're equipped for both, right? They're ready to go. They got Thunder Spears. They're ready for Titans. But they've got guns because they're ready for people. Now, what I wanted to note here is that in the show, it's pretty obvious that within the walls, you've got Hanja, you've got Armin, you've got this whole group of people that are very smart and are keen on advancing things, right? So even after the first half of season 3, they take out the Kenny squad and they get the anti-personnel stuff or whatever, the kind of like shotgun things that he had. And that's actually what they use to invent the Thunder Spears. Hanja explains that that's what they use. Same thing when they go into Rod Rice's cavern, right, and take out all that crystal. It has a glowing property. They invent lights with it. Like they know how to do stuff like right away. They're kind of always advancing. When they use Aaron's hardening ability to create the guillotine things for the Titans to clear out all the Titans.
They're very innovative. You're right.
So they're constantly doing that. So this doesn't surprise me to come up with this kind of stuff in 4 years. So I'm just noting what we're talking about so far is this is just like the natural advancement, it would seem, for the people of Paradise. That's why these have got to be soldiers from there. Now, the last note, it's a little hard in this shot. It's a little clearer in the other screen capture I had, but the ODM gear itself with the gas canister and stuff like that is mounted like high up on the back now, as opposed to kind of lower down, like more around the waist where it was before. Mm-hmm. And these little side pocket things here are not
with a harpoon shootout.
Yeah, well, these side pocket things are holsters for their guns.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. They look like they're the right size.
Okay.
And then, I'm not sure. Anyway, all I know is it's been modified.
So one thing I was going to say too is, remember when the commanders are asking Reiner his perspective on the war and how they could best invade Paradise Island again? Mm-hmm. And he says, "Oh, you could come here. There's not as many people here, but there's not any access to boats. So we can come down from the south. But if they've already destroyed that might not be a good way to go." And he's kind of like strategically listing out all the options and opportunities and pros and cons, which is something you want to do in a military like planning station. And the guy's like, "Oh, so you don't know what to do? Okay, I should have never let an LDN talk," right?
Dude, they're
so
bad.
bigoted
it's
against
so bad.
these people. And which means as soon as you become like that racist, that bigoted because somebody is different than you.
Yeah, there's a blindness about that.
There's a blindness, and you cannot you cannot utilize human potential to its fullest.
For sure.
So one of the great things about, America in the 1940s was we were like, oh man, we're fighting a war and we could use all the help we can get.
And everybody who hated, the Axis powers, we would enlist them and be like, you can move here and we'll friggin' whatever you want to contribute.
We got all these German scientists pour in and they help us with our, with our space program, and they help us with our bombs.
Yeah, nuclear weapons,
we've got
all of it.
Canadians, we've got all sorts of people that are coming together for the Allies, and they're banding together, and we're like, we don't care what you look like, what your skin color is, what your name is. We want to like win this war and survive.
Fight for freedom. Yeah.
And so in that, there's kind of this like human ingenuity that can come to fruition, all the best ideas, because you're not suppressing anybody because of your like terrible bias. And so if you just let all these human ideas come to the top and say, I don't care what you look like, what's your idea? I want the best ideas. All of a sudden those begin to rise to the top. Mm-hmm. And so here you've got back on Paradise, you've got a government now that is no longer suppressing people's ideas and thoughts.
Right.
It's Hanji and Armin, right?
You have a free press. You have, Historia as a just queen. And
yeah. So you've got justice, you've got freedom, and you've got the ability for all these people to plan, strategize, come up with ideas and test. And you've had 4 years since we've seen these people. So you better believe they're packing some surprises for the Marleyans.
100%. Okay, so this is basically the same kind of vibe, but these to me, these two frames, right? So we got Paradise people, and I'm assuming Marley folk. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, the reason I say that is because these are similar to the soldiers we just saw, and they're packing bolt action rifles.
So it's like a English bolt action rifle from World War II.
Yeah, and they don't. If I had to guess, they look a little surprised. Either surprised at the fact that they're now currently stone and are exploding soldiers, or surprised at the kind of weaponry that these other foot soldiers have come in with.
So maybe, okay, well, what about this? What if Hanji and Armin have been able to distill that hardening ability into some sort of, not a gas, but some sort of like potent liquid, and they tip that on their bullets, and when they shoot you, you freaking harden and you collapse and crumble. Or maybe it's just a metaphor. Maybe they're just saying, hey, people break down and
everybody breaks.
Everybody breaks when you get shot, and they don't want to show you like a bullet wound. They want to show you something more artistic because they didn't want to have it be really graphic because war is very graphic.
True. Yeah, this whole, so 2 thoughts. Number 1, I love the mixed media. I've always loved that about this show. There's always been like a little bit of like some digital elements and some hand-drawn elements and anime. That's one of the great things about the art in the show. And this title sequence is actually one of the best. Like, it really looks amazing. This is a perfect example. Pausing this here, you can actually see it a little more clearly that this soldier up front here is done digitally, and he's breaking apart digitally. And then these ones back here were drawn. But like, you wouldn't notice this. Like, it's done well enough. It's like, even in a still frame, it's actually kind of hard to see that that's the case.
Interesting.
But part of the reason I'm mentioning that is the way that these soldiers are all breaking down, the way all this kind of damage is being done. Maybe not this one as much, but for sure these shots were done. Like, this is something a computer could do very quickly. So yeah. Anyway, second thought is this just Avengers Endgame? Like, is everybody just saying, I am inevitable?
They've been able to develop a glove and they snap it.
This is the shot I was looking for earlier.
Okay.
This is just a clear shot of what they have.
So this is before the explosion,
yeah, before they start
the
to
gas
explode.
or whatever happens.
Looks like the same. Are they clones?
So
triplets?
Guy on the right has a thunder spear on his left hand. Guy on the left has a thunder spear on his right hand. Guy in the middle does not have any thunder spears. Yeah. Just 2 guns.
They aren't showing any wires coming out here, but I'm assuming this still looks like ODM gear to me.
It does.
They're strapped for it, sure.
It does look like ODM gear. Or maybe, yeah. Interesting. Okay.
All right. More stuff breaking apart. I don't know.
Breaking in. Airship breaking apart.
The airship breaking apart. This is why I was like, oh yeah, it's just, what's his name? Thanos just doing his work here.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's also why I think it's metaphorical. I'm like, okay, well, can you turn an airship into a stone as well?
Yeah, probably not unless there's some secret hidden Titan power that happens when you unite all 9 powers.
Okay. Yes. Okay, you stole my thunder, but I'm going to go with it. Okay, listen. We're going to get to this end shot here in just a minute. All right, Titan bombs. This to me seems pretty close to what we saw earlier. I think. Like, they're in the same direction. They're falling head first, arms down. Mm-hmm. They look like they're all made of rocks, like they're going to fall down.
Are they all just made of stone? Interesting. Okay.
Maybe not. And maybe this is just telling us, like, Titans fall from the sky now, which we have seen.
Yeah.
Literally. Back to the nuclear explosion. Just kind of like another recapitulation of this deal. Oh, yeah, this is it. Okay, so random side note on nuclear bombs. Not that I'm an expert.
Is that Tatooine?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
okay.
That's a Coruscant right there. Or no, it's a different planet. Anyway, what's this Tatooine? What's
Mos Eisley?
Mos Eisley. I should know. I played Star Wars Galaxy. I used to know every city on Tatooine.
You ran around that planet.
Yeah,
bro.
Dude, I freaking hung out there. Okay, so what I was going to say was nuclear bombs. Side note about them is that in real life, whether it's hydrogen bomb or any kind of nuclear weapon, the scientists who developed them knowing that, like, when you're splitting atoms, it's sort of like a base frequency. That doesn't make sense to anybody except for me. It's sort of like it goes in all directions, basically. That explosion, the way that it's triggered, it wants to emit the energy of the explosion pretty much equally in all directions. So in order to maximize that power, you don't drop the bomb like you would a traditional ordnance, where when it makes impact with the ground, that's when it explodes. So something like a shell that you fire at a tank or a bomb you drop in a building is designed to explode generally on impact, because you're trying to pierce through a wall, through armor, something like that, and do damage on the inside. Okay, a nuclear bomb has more than enough power to blow crap up. What you need with a nuclear bomb is to maximize the area of impact. And so the way that it's done is you drop the bomb, and they are all fitted with an ignition system that triggers at a certain altitude. So they actually don't trigger when they hit the ground. They trigger several thousand feet above the ground. It's actually quite a ways.
Right, because if it goes all the way to the ground and explodes here, only some of that can go out.
Correct.
If it explodes in the atmosphere, it can hit a much bigger.
It's a way bigger area because the power of a nuclear bomb is just the sheer force of it. A traditional ordnance, you need to kind of focus that force in a certain point. Anyway, all that to say that in season 3, when they first when Zeke throws Bertolt in the barrel, I was pretty sure when I watched that, it was like he's throwing him in so that he'll explode in the air and do the most amount of damage.
But then Bertolt saw Reiner being messed up.
Correct. So Bertolt didn't actually do the whole amount of damage I think that he could have done. I think he was severely limited. He still did obviously plenty, but I'm saying it could have been substantially even more.
You could have taken everybody out.
Yeah, had he transformed in the right moment there. So that's what I think this shot is you notice the bright area. It's a little hard to tell, but the bright area here is like kind of up in the sky. That is very much what would actually happen, or very similar to what would actually happen upon dropping like a hydrogen bomb.
It's kind of eerie just looking at it.
It is.
If
it's
you
really
were
freaky.
looking at this, you're dead.
Yeah, these weapons still exist, by the way. Lots of them.
Gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going away anytime soon. Just more explosions. Everything
Shrapnel
explodes.
Flying, yeah.
This one's orangey at least.
Yeah.
Back to our original shot.
Okay.
Don't know what to say.
That could just be the test of it, and then this is kind
Back
of
to
going
this
further
weird
on.
Titan-y looking one.
Okay, here's a new one.
And this is what really tells you it's a nuclear explosion. So I got both of these. So this is before and after. That, if you've ever seen all that classic slow motion footage from the 40s or whatever, or 50s rather, where it's like, the shockwave is just like destroying a house. It looks just like this, like the way that it's being swept away and like, yeah. Anyway, nukes. All right. This could just be a wall, or it could be the wall that the people of Paradise are thrown off of. Well, the Eldians are, and at the end of season 3, we see that they march these Eldians, the Restorationists, or whoever they don't like, whoever's in trouble. They take a ship over to Paradise.
Yeah, and then they drop them off the wall.
This sort of looks like it's that wall, if I had to guess.
If that's the case, that means the battle's actually going to come back to Paradise.
Oh, it's very...
And right now we're in Marley. Anything could happen. It's a long season. Yeah. But I think the majority of our fight, if not all of it's going to be in Marley.
Yeah, the nuclear damage part makes you wonder if that's what this is suggesting, is that it ultimately comes back to that. Okay. Moving on, same thing, this kind of nuclear destruction. This one just looked a little, I don't know.
The shadows.
It's really hard to tell. It looks like walls and buildings to me, but...
Maybe, is it trees?
Could be.
Forest or something?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Okay, so then the rain starts coming.
Acid rain?
Could it be acid rain? Could it be chemicals or anything here? Up to this point, it's all been explosions and destruction, and this part seems a lot more peaceful, right? We get this, again, nice mixed media, like digital, like water effect happening with the multicolors stuff. It looks really cool, but what does it mean? I don't know. Then there's the hand collecting the rain of the various colors, and then the hand, oh wait, I thought I got a screenshot of that. Did I not? I must not have. Okay, well this hand, oh no, that's at the end. What I'm wondering is if...
You go forward one more time. This hand looks like the hand that's coming right there.
Oh.
It's that hand.
Yeah. So in the destruction of all the war and so on and so forth, somebody's like, give me just, a drop of cool rain. Now, this looks like it's everybody. This looks like ODM gear here. Maybe.
So this is either the fallout of the explosion, everyone got jacked up, or this is war.
Okay. Which leads us to our final point, which may be the only, I don't know how long we've been doing this, but this may be the only important point in the entire thing. Is what this entire title sequence saying is that, remember, season 1, Eren is kind of in beast mode. He's pretty unfamiliar with this Titan. He goes and instinctively goes to eat Annie, to rip her out of the nape and to eat her.
Sure.
And he goes into weird, like he has like lava veins thing going on. Like we haven't seen it since. And he's got some kind of otherworldly thing and he's speaking and his voice sounds different. And it's almost as if like the founding Titan or like Ymir
was influencing
herself
what he was saying.
Was influencing him. And he goes, I want to eat her. I want to destroy the whole world.
I'll kill the whole world.
I'll kill the whole world.
Yeah. And that seemed like Eren out of control. That seemed like almost there's a beast inside and it needs to be satiated by killing everything, which would make sense why there was such a war over the Titans, right?
Yeah.
But one of our theories is that, some people were saying, okay, maybe the Tiber family is kind of the big bad guy bosses, and that's who is going to be the last in a fight. It's going to be Eren versus the Warhammer Titan. So some people say, okay, no, the Titans are an evil. They came from the deal that Ymir made with the devil. And so in order to end the Titans, you're going to have to unite all 9 Titan powers and then kill Eren or something along those lines. But we had a theory that hypothetically, the demon is where all these powers came from. That demon is causing almost the corruption of the heart of everybody who has a Titan power. And it's entrapped everybody. And so it wants to get out. The founding Titan kind of wants to get out. That's why the king went and isolated himself in paradise to have a utopia and to keep that founding Titan power away from all the people.
They're kind of the theories that like perhaps that actually was the safest move to go and like just separate the powers from each other.
Because there's this like demon inside who wants to get out, wants to kill the whole world.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, then does Eren have this internal struggle where he wants to save the whole world? He wants to fight for freedom, kind of the attack Titan part, or the founding Titan part's like, I want to kill everybody and rule supreme. Yeah,
my personal theory is that is the case, that Eren's actually ends up being the villain accidentally, but he has to fight that like inner demon to the point where he ends up sacrificing himself for the sake of humanity so that the power of the Titans is like finally done away with.
Yeah, I think that is the only way that the show is going to end. I mean, obviously it could end any way. I was throwing a lot of curveballs. So
zombies, aliens, all kinds of things, okay? You get ready. If you don't know, you get ready, okay?
That's right. But
almost for sure.
It could be a tragedy where it's just like, this is the cycle that happens. Titans take over every couple thousand years and things are terrible and people live under the...
What's the dragon movie I was mentioning?
Reign of Fire.
Reign of Fire. In that movie, like the dragons come up and they like scorch the earth and eat all the ash and then go back into hibernation for like 1,000 years and then come back out and do it again.
Yeah.
Could be one of those.
So there could be something along those lines where it just basically Siama's saying, war is hell. We live in a cruel world, but it's also beautiful. We enjoy it while we can, but it's a terrible cycle. And that's just kind of like the story. Or it could be something along the lines of, gather up all of the evil in the world, all this evil Titan powers, power corrupts ultimately. And so we need to destroy this power and put everybody back at a level playing field. And maybe there'll be peace for our children. Or is it really, the fight against tyranny? They're going to use the Titan powers to fight back against all forms of tyranny and free the people. I hope that's the way it goes. I don't see that going that way. I'm not that optimistic, but we'll see.
So this last shot really looks a lot like the artwork that we see at the end of season 3 when Grisha is, really it's Eren's Titan memories. I think it's a mixture of Grisha's letters, his books that he left, and the Titan memories that Eren's having. But this looks a lot like the artwork that's explaining the Great Titan War. And so what this does at the end here is it zooms in, it finally lands on this one. And so from here, you think, okay, well, that's Eren. Just because of the shape, the hair, like it all very much looks and feels that way. This is very like Night of the Living Dead. Look at this like large face. I really don't know what any of that is. I'll be honest. I'm not.
So Rach had a theory she pointed out to us earlier was, remember in season 1 where Eren's going crazy, he grabs Annie and she starts to harden into that crystal.
Oh, and they like fuse.
And he fuses.
This could be that.
And then he's barely able to get out without like fusing and becoming part of that crystal, being locked in there. Is this the only way to save humanity, is to do some kind of explosion or reaction that hardens everybody, all the Titan shifters, all the bad guys, all the good guys.
Freezes them all together, because this could be the Colossal and these could be the other like Titans or something.
Right. Fuse them all together. And then Armin's, to you in 1,000 years, 2,000 years, here's the note that we wrote to humanity. Here's our suicide note. We did this to save humanity from the power of the Titans, and here's our stand. And here's the pile of rubble, the statues. It's all kind of one big stone.
So when it gets to this final shot, it really, again, this happens so quickly. I realize I don't think it's Aaron, at least not for one main reason, is that Aaron has this really distinct like jaw. Maybe it kind of does do this.
Own thing, and he's got the pointed ears like Aaron has.
Yeah, but like Aaron's jaw, it's like this is like almost like the teeth are just two different lengths. With his, it's like very distinct, which is why I'm not sure. I don't know.
Interesting. So is this just a pile of rubble? Is this showing that in the end the Titans are going to be beaten and humanity's going to triumph?
I don't know.
Is this showing that everyone's going to get hardened?
Gosh, it's really hard to say. Well, at any rate, okay, so this is the last scene from the intro. So if you're a first timer, if you're just joining us on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify, on iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can listen to our podcast. We do it every week whenever the new episode comes out. We have all the previous episodes already done, so you can go back and listen to those if you so desire, or you can join us live every Sunday night on Facebook right after the episode airs, usually around 4:00 West Coast time. We get on Facebook Live and we go through the show. We watch it and we basically go straight to doing the podcast, the live reaction. We've got cool merch and cool stuff to go check out, and there's a whole lot more here on the YouTube channel. Now, as a bonus, not only have we gone through the intro, we're going to really quickly go through the outro because there may be stuff there as well. So I did a few screen caps. There's really not much here, but there's birds. Look at that.
Okay, so maybe birds are going to be the only thing to survive the war.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's maybe.
Or maybe birds are controlling everybody with their minds.
Maybe the demon actually is a bird and manifests in that way.
Okay.
Did I just accidentally nail it? Yeah, probably. Okay, Reiner. I mean, again, this just seems like artsy to me. Most of this, Reiner standing inside the.
Is that Falco?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, he's standing in the shadow. He's going to get the Titan power.
More bird feathers. Oh wait, this is a Titan coming over the wall right here.
Yeah.
Or something, but again, that doesn't look like a paradise wall. It looks like a Marley wall.
Okay.
Okay. Then of course it goes to Gabby. And Reiner, we know that they're cousins.
They're related.
Pretty sure.
She idolizes him. He wants to protect her and save her and kind of teach her.
The bird in the background. And then Falco and the war. Now, again, a lot of this we've already seen, so I don't think there's much for spoiler material in here. I just wanted to check it. So that's why I was like, we'll go through this anyway.
Yeah. The birds are flying upside down.
Oh, weird. Yeah, they are. That's
everything gets turned upside down.
And then this is him kind of like witnessing like the war. I think I got two.
So that was like PTSD in a friggin' in an image, man.
All I know is that the fact that the ending spent some time on Falco sort of really makes me think that he's
a core part of the story.
Yeah, I think it's already been more or less established, but I think this kind of basically like confirms it. Yeah, and him closing his eyes. I just don't know. The Titan memory thing that he had right at the beginning of episode 1, like he's got to have some sort of special connection.
Yeah.
Besides just being an LDN. And then this one. So this is the part that kind of makes me think.
It's like the Phoenix Rising?
Yes, that's sort of what I think, because it goes into the, that's exactly what it does. It looks very much like in the Hunger Games when they go to the 3rd and 4th movies and the bird goes and flies and turns into the thing. It looks just like that. But nonetheless, there's definitely a Phoenix vibe going on here, which maybe that was the whole point. Maybe the intro and the outro connect. You have the dying birds, all hope is lost. Humanity is shattered and broken. But at the very end, there's a resurrection. There's a redemption.
Interesting. That'd be a great show.
I would welcome that.
I would be happy about that. I really hope it doesn't end in a tragedy, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't trust Isayama to not break my heart.
Yes, I know. He's broken my heart all along the way.
He's like, hey,
Irwin.
Here's some characters. You like them? You like them? You like them? Great.
They're dead now.
Like, come on, man. Stop watching Game of Thrones and write your own story.
Seriously. Okay, this is the last little sequence of the outro. This is very clearly, we've seen this twice now. Season 2 a little bit with Ymir's story, and then season 3 when Grisha explains that the owl explains to Grisha that all things are connected, all the LDNs are connected, and they kind of have this like weird tree of life thing in outer space. And this at least reminds me of that. Same thing, all this kind of stuff.
That's a Jackson Pollock painting, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks like, maybe is that Ymir? Is that somebody being resurrected, being reborn?
So tough.
Yeah.
In this scene, the fire or whatever I think is going up.
It looks like that.
I think there's something to this one. Of all the things we've looked at, this to me looks like an actual spoiler of some kind, intentionally blurry, so we can't fully.
You think the first Ymir, the girl who made the deal with the devil, is going to come back?
Somehow. I think somebody has her Titan memories, or somebody accesses her Titan memories or something.
Interesting.
Anyway, yeah, like this weird flame thing kind of goes up so hard to say. Yeah, they're hiding it from us. Anyway,
there's the tree.
That thing. Yes, this is how it works. Is that thing erupts into this tree, so she like forms this like tree. And I think, this is the hand I was talking about earlier. And then the final thing is this weird spirit power, and the hand grasps it. Listen, y'all manga people are like, oh yeah, there's totally spoilers in there.
We don't know what that means. We don't know what it looks like. We
The
don't
only
know why.
like evident spoiler of any kind to me is like, oh, they have guns now.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal, but
Yeah, it is interesting. Maybe it gives it away, but even if you know the ending, if you don't know enough of the story to recognize it as its ending, you could be showing you anything right now. You know, the magician can show you the trick ahead of time, but if you don't know how to watch for it, you'll miss it all the time.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, that wasn't the last slide. Apparently, it's Falco. I think he reaches out. I don't know if it's his hand or not.
Aaron reaching out in season 2. I think they reach up to the sky.
As kids or whatever.
One of the intros, yeah.
One of the intros, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the last thing is the bird. It's
the bird, the transcendent, yeah. Rise above.
It's all about the birds, bro.
Speaking of the birds, if you want to subscribe to our podcast,
now's a great time.
Now's a great time to fly above all the troubles in the world. Find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and if you don't mind,
everywhere.
If you're enjoying what you're hearing, leave us a 5-star review. We appreciate all the feedback. If you have a question or a concern or a comment, email us at beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com.
Anything else we need to tell them?
We need to tell them we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we do. Seriously, it's been really fun. Love the theories. Keep them coming in the emails. It's been super fun. And we will see you guys tomorrow, actually, because next episode today's Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Facebook Live. Catch us there about 4 o'clock.
It's going to get spicy.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
see ya.
guys.
Hey guys, thanks again for watching and listening to our show, Beyond the Basement Podcast. If y'all are enjoying it, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever else you listen to our show. Check out the description below for links to our awesome Attack on Titan merchandise. And join us live on Sunday nights on Facebook for all of Season 4. And some of our best content is on YouTube, including me, so go ahead and check that out. And lastly, if you guys have any questions or just want to chat with us, please email us at beyondthebasementpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next video.